In a silent prison chamber just hours before her execution, a woman in an orange jumpsuit made one final request, one the officers never expected. She didn't ask for a meal. She didn't ask to see her family. She simply whispered, "I want to see my dog just one last time." The warden hesitated. Why a dog? Why now? But something in her trembling voice forced him to agree. When the German Shepherd was brought into the room, officers expected tears, regret, maybe a goodbye. But the moment the dog saw her, everything exploded into chaos. Because what he did next exposed a truth no one in that prison was prepared to face. And it changed everything. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The prison hallway felt colder than usual that morning, as if the walls themselves knew what was about to happen. Guards moved quietly, avoiding eye contact, their boots echoing like distant warnings. In the center of a dim, concrete room sat Elelina, a woman whose face held more sorrow than anger, more exhaustion than fear. She had just hours left to live. Yet when the warden asked if she had any final requests, she surprised everyone. "I want to see my dog," she whispered. Not a meal, not a priest, not her family, just her dog. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. It wasn't a common request. Some thought it was strange. Others thought it was pointless. But the warden, noticing the tremble in her voice and the way she clenched her hands, finally nodded. Elelina lowered her head, eyes glistening. The dog was the only soul who had ever loved her without judgment, the only one who had stayed by her side through the darkest nights. As they prepared the visitation room, no one imagined this simple request would unravel the truth behind her conviction. No one knew the dog's reaction would shake the prison to its core. Everything was about to change. The metal door groaned open as the officers led the German Shepherd into the visitation chamber. His nails clicked sharply against the polished floor, each step filled with restless energy. Elelina lifted her head the moment she heard him, her breath catching, her eyes softening with a mixture of hope and heartbreak. But before she could speak his name, everything changed. The dog froze, his ears shot forward, his muscles tightened, his eyes locked onto her, not with calm recognition but with fierce, urgent intensity. Then he lunged not toward her but between her and the officers, positioning himself like a shield. A deep growl vibrated in his chest, a warning that sent chills through the room. The guards stiffened, hands drifting toward their holsters, but the warden lifted a hand, signaling restraint. "Easy, easy now," he murmured. Yet the dog wouldn't settle. He barked sharply at the nearest guard, then whined desperately at Elena, circling her chair as if trying to protect her from something unseen. His behavior made no sense, unless he sensed danger. Elena covered her mouth, tears spilling. "He remembers me," she whispered. But the warden wasn't convinced. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and the dog knew it before anyone else. The room fell into a tense silence as the German Shepherd continued pacing, Around Elena, his posture rigid, his breath sharp and uneven. Every few seconds he stopped to stare directly at one of the officers, releasing a low growl that raised the hairs on everyone's arms. This wasn't aggression. It was alarm, instinctive, protective. The warden stepped closer, studying the dog's behavior. Has he ever acted like this before? He asked quietly. Elenina shook her head, wiping her tears. Never. He's gentle. He always has been. If he's reacting like this, something is wrong. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. Dogs could sense more than humans. Fear, danger, lies. And this dog seemed to sense all three in the room. When one guard approached Elena to resecure her handcuffs, the dog snapped, barking so sharply the man stumbled back. Get that animal under control, the guard barked. But the warden didn't move. His eyes narrowed, watching the shepherd's trembling body. The way he pressed against Elenina's knees as if begging her to stay put, begging her not to be taken. It wasn't defiance. It was fear. Not fear of Elena. Fear for her. For the first time doubt crept into the warden's mind. What had they missed? Elena's shoulders trembled as the German shepherd pressed against her legs, refusing to move away. His presence so desperate, so protective, broke whatever strength she had left. She lowered her head, her voice cracking as the truth she had buried for months finally clawed its way out. I didn't kill him, she whispered. The guard stiffened. The warden's brows rose. Then why confess? He asked gently. She swallowed hard. Because I had no choice. They threatened my dog. They said if I didn't take the blame, he'd be put down. She brushed her fingers lightly across the dog's fur, her tears dripping onto his back. He was all I had. I couldn't let anything happen to him. A stunned silence filled the room. One of the officers scoffed. Why believe this now? She had a trial. But the dog answered for her. He stepped forward, barking fiercely at that very officer, the same one who had handled evidence in her case. The warden's eyes sharpened. The dog's instinct wasn't random. It was targeted. Elena lifted her gaze, broken but resolute. They framed me. I took the blame to save him. The dog whined softly, nudging her hand. And in that moment, the warden realized this wasn't just emotion. This was truth, fighting to be heard. The warden's expression darkened as he studied the trembling German shepherd. Something about the dog's focused aggression toward that one officer gnawed at him. Bring me the case file, he ordered sharply. The room tensed. No one questioned a decision made this close to an execution. Yet he had. Within minutes, a guard returned with a worn folder. The warden flipped through the pages, his eyes narrowing at every detail. The rushed investigation, the missing timestamps, the officer's signature on nearly every critical report. The dog growled again, inching forward, teeth bared. Stand down, the accused officer snapped, stepping back, as sweat formed on his brow. But the dog pressed harder, nose angled toward the man's vest pocket. Check it, the warden commanded. A guard hesitated, then reached into the pocket, pulling out a keychain with a metal tag. Elenina gasped. that belonged to the victim. It went missing the night he died. Panic flashed across the officer's face. That's not mine, he stammered. But the dog barked loud and sharp as if calling out a lie. The warden's jaw tightened. Evidence lost. Evidence hidden, and a dog who refused to let the truth stay buried. Time was almost gone, but everything had just changed. The room erupted as guards seized the trembling officer, his protests echoing off the concrete walls. The warden raised a commanding hand. Stop everything. Halt the execution. Effective immediately. Gasps filled the chamber. Elena covered her mouth, her body shaking between disbelief and hope. The German shepherd barked triumphantly, as if announcing victory. Investigators flooded the prison within the hour, with new evidence exposed and the officers' panicked confession unraveling under pressure. The truth finally surfaced. Elena had been framed to protect a corruption scheme. Her dog had sensed the guilty man from the moment he walked in. By evening, the warden approached Elena's holding cell. You're being released, he said softly. You were never meant to be here. Her knees buckled, tears streaming down her face. The dog rushed forward, pressing his head against her chest, whining with overwhelming relief. You saved me, she whispered, burying her fingers in his fur. Outside the prison gates, the sunset painted the sky gold as Elena stepped into freedom, her dog trotting proudly beside her. Reporters clamored for answers, but she ignored them all. She had only one truth to hold on to. Her last wish wasn't a goodbye. It was a beginning, and her dog was the hero who changed